Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings, the holy crap, I can't believe I ate so much for dinner edition. It's painfully full right now. Painfully full. This is going to be a relatively short episode compared to all my other ones, all my other Cube Rambling episodes, just because I didn't get a much chance to really dig through my RSS feeds and whatnot. But I do have a few notes that I jogged down during the week here, and I'm going to go through them. It's just the way it is. I was very, very busy with life in general. So we will do this. Also, as far as Cube World goes, I am heading off towards this other Cross Swords area, the last one that I see out here in the lands that I have not explored yet. We'll see what we encounter along the way. Unfortunately, it's getting dark, so this is going to be one of those let me go brighten this whole episode up editions. I've been doing quite a few things. I've been trying to get some more live streaming in. I did some live streaming on Thursday. Just random stuff, nothing big. I was on. I went to test out Signs of Life, which is a Terraria / Starbound-alike game, and I just wanted to stream a little bit of that to try to figure out how to actually play it, which leads me to the belief that I might actually, from going forward, have a series, probably on Twitch, where I look at these games for the very first time, blind looks, and I try to figure out how the hell they work. Because there's a lot of them out there, a lot of these little indie alpha games that I pick up, and then I usually take a day or 2 or 3 to just look at them and play them a little bit before I actually record anything, just to try to get a feel for it. But my time has been rough going lately, especially with all these series is going on. So I think I'm going to actually live stream my first look at those games, my first attempt at playing the games. I think the tentative title is going to be How Do I Play X? You know what I mean? So, and I don't know when I'm going to do that. Live streaming right now does not really fall into something that I can schedule because of so many other variables at play. But we'll see. You might want to follow me on Twitter. I have Twitch automatically send out tweets when I go live. You can also follow me on Twitch. I'm at Memory Leak Death on Twitch, and I'm Memory Leak Death on Twitter. And you can get a notification by email when I go online, when I go live. So that is a thing and a half. So what have I got for you this episode? Well, I got 2 things. I've got, of course, the usual round of Kickstarter updates. I'm going to put them off for a little bit. I want to talk about the latest round of, well, first of all, there's two topics I want to talk about. One is the latest round of Steam Greenlight titles. They went through and greenlit 75 titles this week. And I have my trusty tablet sitting here waiting for me to rattle off some things. I have a few insights, very basic insights on some of the things that were greenlit. And as well as that, the live streaming stuff, on Friday nights, I've been doing the Deus Ex Trilogy as a live stream. And I'm still, it's only part 2 right now. I'm still on the original Deus Ex. I just got through I just got through Battery Park, and I'm in the midst of Hell's Kitchen. I got a few things done in Hell's Kitchen. Not quite to the end of that yet, but about halfway through that. And I'm using the New Vision mod, which is basically a replacement for 70% of the textures in the game, which are basically all the background textures, the skybox, things that are non-interactable. Okay, it makes them HD. They look quite good. The only time I see any problems is when you have the light augmentation, when you turn that on. say you're in ventilation ducts, for instance. There's a lot of texture pop there. But, you know, it is what it is. Wow. This, so these are ruins, apparently, right? I've never seen ruins like this. I usually see ruins that are actual ruins. This is different. I've never encountered this before. These are, I mean, I think they're ruins, right? Yeah, ruins of Terragor. And they're not very ruined. They're just oh, there's a slime here too. Holy crap. Oh my god, all these enemies. Jeez. It's the first time I've seen a slime too. Holy crap, we're seeing new things all the time here in Cube World. This is interesting. I gotta keep playing through this little area here. While I do so, let me finish my thoughts here. There is another mod out, a mod pack, if you will, called Deus Ex Revision. I just heard about it the other day, and it's kind of a shame that I only heard about it the other day, because I would have employed it, or I would have waited for it before doing my Deus Ex stuff. But as it stands now, I'll probably be done the original Deus Ex before this comes out. This comes out, I believe, in May or something like that, is what they're targeting. But essentially, it packages up several of the popular community mods and adds a few of its own. So it has the New Vision mod in it, as I mentioned earlier. It has the HDTP mod, which is the 3D models have been upgraded, and all the 3D objects that you interact with, or most of them anyway, have been upgraded. The only reason I didn't use that mod myself is that everything I saw on it said that it hadn't been completed, and it hadn't had any traction since like 2010. So apparently they're going to put that in there as well, I believe. They mentioned that they're going to have all new 3D models for all the characters and all that stuff. In addition, they're adding a brand new soundtrack that's optional, which is good news to me to hear, because the original Deus Ex music tracks, audio tracks, were very, very good. I mean, they're probably the best music I've heard in any game in a long time. And I would not believe that they would be replaced with with anything. However, given that it's a fan mod, fans generally are pretty good at being faithful to the original. So I will reserve any judgment I have until I actually hear it and see it. Also, in addition to that, they're tweaking the levels a little bit, make them a little bit more modern, make them a little bit more interesting. And also, they're adding some new, like, non-essential NPC characters, which I assume is to try to replace a lot of the reading that you do in the game, because a lot of the story, a lot of the universe is conveyed through books and data cubes and whatnot. And it would be nice if you had that replaced with actual NPCs that could give you some of that information. And I assume that's what they're going to do with it. I can't fathom anything else besides that. So that is cool. I when that comes out, I will probably do maybe a short YouTube video on it, just kind of showcasing it, a few minutes here and there. And then the rest, if you want to see Deus Ex, see me play through it, you're just going to have to tune in Friday nights at usually around 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so that's -4 GMT, when I generally jump on there. But to be more accurate, you should either follow me on Twitter at MemoryLeakDeath, or you can follow me on Twitch at MemoryLeakDeath, and you'll get either emails or tweets when I go live automatically from Twitch. So you'll be able to tune in if you feel you want to watch me screw around in the original Deus Ex. And probably curse a little bit as I do so. So that's the one topic there related to streaming and news that I've heard. So before I get into the Kickstarter update, which I don't have much to say there other than there's a few projects have finished, a few projects are making some progress. I'm going to jump into, reach over and grab my tablet here. I'm going to jump into the 75 new Steam games that were, or 75 new games that were recently greenlit on Steam this week. I'm going to read off the list, and as I come upon things that I've sort of taken a look at, I will stop and chat about them. So we'll start off at the top. 4 Elements 2 was greenlit this week. All it says is it's a sequel to 4 Elements. So that's about as much description as I have on it. 8-Bit Commando, running gun platformer of fast-paced action, and a rocking soundtrack apparently. I have not looked into it. I am intrigued. I am intrigued by it, and I want to probably look into it, but I did not look into it before recording here. What I did look into, though, a little bit, was Ace Online, and I accidentally clicked on it, which I didn't want to do. Oh, this is Steam. Why you do me so? Oh, it's gonna take forever and a day now to reload that freaking list again. Ace Online is a free-to-play aerial combat game set as a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. And I was watching the videos on it, and again, very intrigued by what I saw there. That might be a candidate for a pub crawl episode. In fact, I'm highly thinking I'm going to go download it probably right after this and try it out and actually maybe record it for this Monday's pub crawl. We'll see. We'll see. It depends on what I can. It depends on what kind of time I have. It's getting kind of late, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have a few other things on my list I also want to record. And while I wait for this to come up, I'll just jump to the next one that I wrote down here. Dark Raid. This is a first-person shooter in a sci-fi world, and it's got the old-school boss fight type of gameplay in it. So it's, I guess it's sort of from what I saw, it looked a little bit like a Duke Nukem 3D, only with much better graphics. And maybe a combination of that and, what is that other one? That recent one? Serious Sam. You know, it's probably a combination between the two. Although I don't, Serious Sam was more of a comedic thing. This seems to be a little bit more of a serious thing. But I'm interested in it. I'm not usually the type that's interested in FPSs. So to get me interested in one, you either have to have a sci-fi theme, which overrides all my other instincts, or it's got to be something that is sort of intriguing or looks fast-paced, sort of like a Halo type of thing. So that's another one I looked at, and of course my list has come back up here, so I'll jump back to that. Actual Sunlight, apparently an interactive story about love, depression, and some corporate stuff. I don't know. Airscape: The Fall of Gravity, Algobot programming puzzle game using code logic. That sort of has me intrigued because being a programmer, I always like to see these games that try to make games out of programming. The problem is also being a programmer, I usually get very frustrated when I realize that they're very, very basic. I can't do what I want to do. So, like another one I looked at off camera was called Code Combat, which is a web-based one, a JavaScript. You write some JavaScript, and it's it's like an RPG thing, and you move your guys around and all that stuff. And I got the only reason I didn't record it is I got very frustrated with it because I know advanced concepts like looping and all that stuff. And that's it was nowhere to be found in the first couple of episodes, which makes sense. First couple of maps, so it was just frustrating the hell out of me. Amputee, I'm not even going to get into it. Bean's Quest, and apparently an eternal jumping awaits. That's all it says there. Bone Town Mature Edition. Now, this one, I have to admit, was intrigued enough to take a look at it. It's what you would expect. It is a adult themed game, but you can't have adult games on Steam per se. So they've removed any of the things that would have made it adults only, so nudity and other things, and have made an M-rated edition of it. So yeah, it's kind of a Leisure Suit Larry-ish thing. If you're into that kind of thing, I mean, that's, you know, it's one of those things where I'd feel kind of weird if somebody looked through my Steam library and saw that. So I didn't bother with it. And besides, apparently there is a version of it that is not mature, beyond mature. So that would probably be the one that I would look at, if anything. Boson X, Quantum Jump. It looks like a platformer of some kind. Burrito Galaxy Z64, Mega Tortilla Scrolls Saga 30x6, Planetoid Sal 5A, the 14th Director's Cut Candy Edition, Push It to the Edge Pro. Yes, that is the actual title of that game. And all it says here is, warning, this game has no guns, bloods, or zombies. So that might be something that I'd have to look at as a funny little aside. Celestian Tales Old North, another one. It's a JRPG that I might have to dig into at some point. Classroom Aquatic. This one, I have no idea what people are smoking these days. I really don't. It's basically you're a dolphin in a classroom and you're taking a test and you need to cheat from the other dolphins next to you to pass the test. I don't even know. I'm just going to leave it at that. Crayola Creative Studio, which sounds good for the kiddies. Dark Drive, which I'll be honest, did not pique my eye sockets until just now. That's got like a sci-fi-ish look to it, so I don't know what to make of it. Unfortunately, nothing has loaded here to tell me other than the horizon. That's all that has loaded. So, whatever. Dark Raid is the one I was just talking about. It's the FPS sci-fi game. Derek the Deathfin, world's first underwater papercraft video game. Whatever. Dig or Die. Dog Sled Saga. Whatever. Again, probably something that would be good for a few laughs. Dragon Fin Soup. Dragons of Alanthea. We're sensing a theme here. Dub Wars Play Till You Drop. Dungeon King. This one caught my attention. This is an action RPG. Very, very reminiscent of Diablo. It's got the random random monsters, random loot, and random environments, dungeons. But they're not procedurally generated. They're handcrafted, but then they're randomized, and the handcrafted areas are randomized in a randomizer. So it's intriguing. It's got some nice graphics and everything. It looks very much like Diablo. So if you're into that thing, and I was into Diablo a little bit, so it's certainly interesting. I'm probably more into Dungeon King than I would be into Diablo, because the one thing I didn't like about Diablo was that it was very, very dark. A very dark game. Like a spooky-ish game. And I just didn't really... I'm not into horror-like things, so it didn't really pique my interest when it was out. This one looks a little bit more my style, so that is a thing. Dungeon Mans, I don't know what that is. It just says heroic adventure roguelike. Again, that's something I'd probably look into if I had more time. Ecotone, Eidolon. It's a narrative exploration game set in a massive post-human Western something. It goes off the screen. Whatever. Farsky, I've kind of heard of Farsky. It's like a submarine-ish thing, I believe. You're stranded underwater, but I haven't dug into that. Fiesta Online, it's an MMORPG. Fishdom 3, The Floor is Jelly. Feyria, I should say, strategy card game, if you're into the card game stuff, which generally does not blip on my radar, but it might on yours. Gemcraft Chapter 2, Chasing Shadows. Glitch Space, which is another one I think I've heard of, but I never really dug into. The Good Life, Go Scurry. Khonshu, The Tale of the Voice Actress. I don't know. Legends of Persia, not to be confused with Prince of Persia or anything like that. It's apparently a Diablo action RPG. Getting a lot of those in this list here. Loner, Micron, Mini Metro, which I have no idea what that is other than probably some kind of metro simulator. Moon Rising, I took a look at this. This is a turn-based strategy game rather than a real-time strategy game. And you're on the moon and you're fighting with the computer or other co-op players or other multiplayer players for Helium-3. That's the main resource. And it's got because it's turn-based, it has asynchronous multiplayer, which is to say, the people you're playing with do not have to be online at the time you're doing it. You just queue up your moves, and they happen. It's like the old play by email stuff, right? You queue up your moves, they happen. The other person eventually comes around, maybe a day or two later, does their moves. They queue up, they come down, that kind of thing, back and forth. It's an interesting concept, so I might take a look at that at some point. A New Reckoning. I don't know anything about that. Oknit, Oncoming Death, Only If, Operation Smash, Particle Mace, which, again, a sci-fi thing that might be on my radar, but I haven't dug into it yet. Perfect Golf, apparently it's an MMO golf game. I guess there's a market there. Why not? Pure Solar and the Great Architects. I feel like I've heard of this before, and I just haven't. It doesn't ring a bell, but it does. The name sort of rings a bell a little bit. Pro Pinball, the Ultra Editions, Pro Wrestling X or 10. I don't know. These days it's either X or 10. Just seems to depend on who you talk to. Project Nex, which is an arena first-person shooter game with sort of cartoony like stylist graphics to it. Project Knight. Proven Lands. Now this one is a Kickstarter that I've been following, so I might as well give you the Kickstarter update on that. Proven Lands was greenlit just this week, and their Kickstarter is up to £22,257. They're looking to raise £299,000. They got 20 days left, so they got a huge gap to fill there. So we'll see what happens there. That is I haven't really talked about them at all, but that's it's a game that it's top-down survival game in the style of like Don't Starve and Project Zomboid. Only it's in a sci-fi setting, and your character has like this mood and trait system, just like in Project Zomboid, where at random points, if you're hungry or you're particularly lonely or something like that, your character will just act unpredictably, and you have to sort of manage that on top of everything else, on top of surviving on an alien planet, that kind of thing. That if I remember correctly, the story is that you're sort of a farmer of some kind, and you were on a trip to a new world, and your ship got stranded and now you've got to survive on your own. So that's a thing. Quest Run. This one is one that's been on my list for a long time that I wanted to look at. This is actually, I believe, a completed game at this point. It's a JRPG tactical game without all the story and all the reams and reams of dialogue to go through. So that's an interesting one. You just kind of jump in, you do a few quests, level up a little bit, that kind of thing. Boss encounters, all that stuff. So I've wanted to look at that for a while. So that will be another impetus for me to go take a look at that. Retro Game Crunch, which is apparently 7 games that have a retro charm to them. Rex Rocket, Rise of Magic, Robocraft, which is basically BattleBots in an MMO setting, or a multiplayer setting, I should say. So you basically build robots and you fight with other players. Royal Envoy 2, Shadows on the Vatican, the series. Silent Escape, Soulbinder, Strata, Subject 01, Tabletop Simulator, which was a Kickstarter that I backed that we had our update for last week. That was completed and they got what they needed, more than they needed. Taiko-Don Living Universe, Thinking with Time Machine, Tiger Knight, The Tower of Elements 2, US in the Game Industry, Wild Season, Whispering Willows, and You Have to Win the Game. Those are the 75 titles that were greenlit on Steam recently. And I'm having a hell of a time here actually making any progress. But that being said, I think I'm going to end the episode here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next week.